segueing us into the next topic. 21 Savage just released an album called What Happened to the Streets. It just dropped. Super, I want you to talk about it. But I have an overarching question I want to get into. Leroy, you and I touched on this a couple of days ago. What does the question really mean? What happened to the streets? Can the streets be saved? And then we're going to segue into another street artist that just came home, just released first day out, Memphis' own Pooh Shiesty. We're going to talk about the streets. Can the streets be saved? What does saving the streets mean? Leroy, you teed us up for this, so we're going to go. So 21 Savage, what do you think? Super, what's your thoughts on what happened to the streets by 21?
I thought the album was pretty dope, to be honest with you. Like especially the back half of the album. Like I'm not too much of a fan of maybe the first 5 songs. But then after, pretty much after the Drake song on there, it really kicked up for me. The Drake song, for one, I'm just gonna stand out. I'm gonna say it off top. It's the worst song on the album. On the whole album.
No,
Is the worst
no,
song on the album. Like,
no.
it almost seemed like 21 Savage had to beg Drake to rap on there or something like that. Like, he didn't sound inspired at all. It's like the worst beat on there. It's the worst song on the album. So shout out to 21 for not needing Drake and not needing the Drake feature, because that feature is whack. They could have kept that off the album. But after that, I would say the song with Dog Shit with Lotto. I mean, not Lotto, with Glorilla. That song is fire. I think the album picks up from there. I think it get real dope for me. I mean, I think 21 showed a little bit of maturity. He unapologetically street, and he's standing on it. You know what I mean? He's saying, like, nigga, I'm a street nigga. This is what it is. Like, what you mean? Like, these internet nerds is trying to take over our culture, and hip hop need the streets. Hip hop is the streets is the last line of defense before hip hop is taken over totally by the corporate machine and nerds. To be honest with you. Now, it's like, could they execute how they do in the streets, and can the streets be represented better? Yes. Could they stop glorifying a lot of bullshit? Yes. And I think that's what kind of 21 was kind of getting across in this album, really. I think he did a dope job. I mean, Code of Honor with G Herbo, I love that song. The beat soulful. Like, you can't do nothing but feel them when they talking that and they telling them stories on that shit. G Herbo got a line on there where he was like, I had to move my mama out to the sticks because these niggas wicked. Like, some of them songs and some of that shit that they say on there, you can tell that they getting wiser with they streetness. You know what I mean? And they actually they becoming OGs themselves. They used to be young. They reflecting on life. They passing on information to the kids, and they tell them, like, man, y'all wilding out. It's another song on there, Gang Over Everything, where 21 Savage is talking about how he was having a conversation with a little youngin, saying, like, man, throwing your life away and you out here tricking yourself off in the streets, that ain't shit. That ain't being a soldier. You being out here wild and reckless, that ain't street. You know what I mean? Gangsters move in silence. And basically what he with this album, I think that 21 Savage is kind of speaking like, man, like, we got to get back to having a little bit of morals in the streets. The streets is dead because you niggas is abusing the streets. A lot of people is out here really wilding out and just doing shit just for the sake of doing stuff, and that ain't really gangster. That ain't street. And I like the way that that's the theme of this album, like, for real. Shout out to 21, man, for really stepping on there. Big Stepper is dope. Another great beat. 21 rapping, his lyrics on there. He really stepped up some of his lyrical content on that back half of the album. Once you can hear it too. Once you hear, like, the sound of the album kind of go soulful. His lyrical content step up, and he telling more stories, and he being more wiser, and he being more mindful of him getting older and being an adult. And I really like that. I respected that from 21. I think that he showed a little bit of growth, but you got to get through the first 4 or 5 or 6 songs. Like, after the Drake song is dope, but if you them first couple songs, you might cut it off if you don't get to that midpoint of the album. But after that, I think it's really dope, man. Atlanta Tears, one of the best Lil Baby features and verses I heard from him in a while. I think that was pretty dope. And that's one of the lines on there from 21 where he's talking about internet nerds trying to tell us how the streets feel. I wish he would have had Benny the Butcher as a feature on this album. That would have been dope, because Benny kind of popped this conversation off about the streets being dead and these nerds taking over the streets, and they trying to tell us what's cool and what's not cool. And we got the wrong people representing the streets is what's wrong with the streets.
Exactly. That's what I've been saying, but y'all ain't listening to me. But that's another topic. That's another.
But overall, I think the album was dope. I like the song Step Brothers with Lil Young Nudie, or whatever his name is.
Young Nudie? Yeah.
It got the DMX Stop Being Greedy sample in there. I thought that song was pretty cool on the beginning. The intro was pretty dope.
The Lotto song was okay. I mean, that's for the
I'm
girls.
not a fan of that one. That's a skip for me. I'm not a fan of
You
that one
know,
at
I
all.
thought,
I like the glow one though. Like I like the glow one for
the
sure.
Glow one was tight. The Drake record, was surprising to me. I wasn't, too keen on it, but I do think that out of everybody that Drake works with, him and 21 do have good chemistry. I think the album they made was dope. I think, him and Future have the best chemistry, Drake. But I mean, I would like to see more 21 records, 21 Savage records with Drake. But Leroy, so the overarching question, we talked about it,
Yeah,
what happened to
I
the
watched the
streets.
interview. I
What do you
watched the
think about the
interview
streets?
with 21 Savage and Big Hank or whatever, the Big Hank. I don't know how old 21 Savage is, but I take it he's around 30 or something, right? So I only have one idea of the street, and that's it. I only think the street can go one way. Now I'm gonna break it down into three, but I really only think it's only one way. In the streets, you either gonna do a lot of decades in prison, or you gonna take somebody's hat, or you gonna get money in the dope game. Them is the only three routes. So to me, it's always been kind of confusing to hear the streets and hip hop. Now, I understand what everybody means because I know they come from a real place. I know that they have their own experiences. I know where hip hop is from. But at the core, it's always been a little confusing to me in the sense that where if you're really from that, I don't understand why you'd want to go there or stay there, or like I don't understand. I'm trying to get the furthest away from that, being personally, because it only goes one way. I don't know no other way. The street is about combat. So if either you're efficient in combat in all levels, from weapons, hand to hand, or whatever, it's combat. If you're not about combat, then I don't know what street we're talking about. And that's me. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't know about honor in the street. Now, granted, it's a nice idea, and I respect the idea, but I'm talking about in real life. How many times have you seen honor displayed in the street? Really, though? It's only been a few times. You know what I mean? Most of the times you don't see that. You see dudes, they'll backstab each other, they'll blah, 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 sleep with each other's chicks, shoot each other. It's like, so I it's confusing for me. Now, when he says like, where's the honor at? Where's the code? I don't know if there was ever a code. When I was young, the OGs that they were supposed to have a code, it was really kind of like fuzzy. It wasn't like a strong code. Do you know what I'm saying? And so in my era, same thing. Like, we'll kill each other over, you know what I mean, real quick. So it's like I think that there's the real streets and I think there's the entertainment. Now, if guys just want to entertain and get their money, I can't hate on that because why would I hate on you getting your money? But I think I'm confused, man, because the streets to me is a very dangerous place. So I don't know why we'd want to go there.
I think that hip hop streets and the real streets are two different things. Like to be honest with you, I think that when we talk about the streets in hip hop, we kind of like we fantasize it in a way.
Exactly.
Like on the song like the Atlanta Tears, right? We're on here with him and Lil Baby. Like 21's verse, he like man, it's real people going through real shit out here. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like why people is internet glamorizing the streets and like really like celebrities is glamorizing the streets and shit like that. It's real people out here really suffering and really gotta sell dope or really been going through that, really getting snitched on about some about something. You know what I mean? So it's like the way that hip hop is kind of playing street. You know what I mean? And like there's a big difference between what's really happening in the streets and what the glorification through rap music and in these videos, everybody just running around with sticks. It's starting to affect and make the real streets, the internet fake streets. You know what I'm saying? So like I think
Exactly.
that we people playing a game and they playing gangster really a little bit more than actually having to be gangster or even understanding what it even take to even make it out the hood or even to go through that shit. People playing around. People they use the hood as a vacation spot now. People want to go visit the
That's
ghetto
crazy.
for fun and shit. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
people playing.
the one pushback I have, there's a lot of real dudes on the internet now too. Like some of these dudes on the
Oh
internet,
yeah, of course,
some of the dudes on the internet that came home from jail and all that, they was real dudes. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So
But the glorification of the streets is where like I think that's where hip hop really went wrong. I mean, we always had rappers that would, talk about street stuff, but it was always like at least some realness to it, and that's why
Malice.
I like that 21 kind of, he always been street, but especially with this album, he talk about a lot of the pain and shit that he done been through because of the streets. You know what I mean? Like this shit ain't something to be glorifying and playing, and you don't play streets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this, it's real. You know what I mean? This shit ain't cute. So it's like I like that theme of the album and how like that's what y'all making.
Okay, so I get it. If that's the case, I get it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the album was good though.
I like the I Wish song too. Not my bad, Ryan.
Go ahead.
The I Wish song with the R. Kelly, like the R. Kelly I Wish remix. You know what I mean? Like that's another one. Like we said, when you listen to that, you can't help but feeling. You know what I mean? He kind of, you could tell that 21 is not just, we watch interviews, so he been around now, but dude is very intelligent. Like he not like no dummy at all. He real smart. He understands his rap style. He can do a lot more with his music. And this album, like I said, that back half of the album, it really proved that this dude, like, he's starting to recognize his position. He getting older. And he started saying, like, man, I might have to represent myself a little bit better. As far as teaching, I'm an OG now. Now I got to talk to these little young niggas about doing dumb shit. I'm still want to be young and shit. You know what I mean? He's still young and in the middle of that shit too. So shout out to 21, man. I love the album. I do. I like the album a lot.
I've said in the past, and I know people take this the wrong way because they think I'm like taking a shot at the streets. Sometimes I wish the streets would just leave hip hop alone. And it's not that I'm trying to diss the streets, but I already know what y'all do. I already know what you do. So why not? The people in hip hop, they're civilians. If we're gonna keep it a buck, they're not built for you.
The streets that we really got to get in check, because Public Enemy was street. You know what I mean? KRS-One them was street. You know what I mean? It's just
Right.
like if we getting rid of the streets, then we really kind of almost like that's really like
That's true.
That's the end of the revolutionary side of hip hop.
But
like
they knew who the enemy was, and they knew it wasn't themselves. They knew it wasn't another black man. They knew that. KRS-One is a street dude, but he knows another black guy is not his real enemy. He knew that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the streets is too hard for the real hip hop crowd. The people in the hip hop crowd, they civilians, bro. A lot of the artists, they civilians. We're just gonna keep it real.
You know, it's a lot of guys like now, like even like G Herbo. I like the way that he expressed his pain through his music. You know what I'm saying? Like
That's
like the way he gonna talk his gangster shit. He gonna say some stuff, but it's gonna have some regret there and there within the songs. He gonna tell you something that like something real within.
I can respect that.
So I mean, we stuck between a rock and a hard place when it come down to hip hop in the streets, because we do see how like influential it is to these kids and like how corny and fake. Like you got fake suburban kids wanting to be gangsters and shit, right?
Okay.
Going out here, got shiesty masks on, and you know what I mean? Like they wannabes. Hip hop has produced a lot of wannabes.
But some of the wannabes become real though, because they want to be so hard
because they
actually become real.